Electricity. It is a heartbeat of our modern world. We think of it as a recent invention, something born from the minds of Benjamin Franklin, Tesla, and Edison. We assume that before the light bulb, humanity lived in the dark, relying only on fire and oil lamps. But what if we are wrong? What if the key to electrical power was actually discovered 2,000 years ago, only to be lost in the sands of time? In 1938, an archaeologist found an object that shouldn't exist. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't jewelry. It was a device that looked suspiciously like a modern AA battery. This is the story of the Baghdad Battery, the most controversial artifact in the history of science. Did the ancients have the power to light up the dark, or was this used for something much more mysterious? Our story begins just outside of Baghdad, Iraq. The year is 1938. A German archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig was digging through the archives of the National Museum of Iraq. He wasn't looking for gold or mummies. He was cataloging what he thought was junk. But amidst the dusty crates, he found a yellow clay jar about 5 inches tall. On the outside, it looked like standard pottery. But when Koenig looked inside, he realized this was no ordinary vase. Inside the jar was a cylinder made of rolled copper sheet, and inside that copper cylinder, suspended by a plug of asphalt, was an iron rod. Koenig was an expert, and he immediately noticed something strange. The iron rod showed signs of acid corrosion. As a man of science, he knew that if you place copper and iron together and separate them with an acidic liquid, like vinegar or grape juice, you create a chemical reaction. He looked at the jar, he looked at the metal, and he came to a shocking conclusion. This wasn't a container for scrolls. This was a galvanic cell, a battery. The claim sounded insane. The Parthian Empire, which ruled this region around 250 BC, didn't have copper wire, they didn't have light bulbs, so why would they build a battery? Before we ask why, we have to ask, does it work? Since the discovery, scientists and engineers, including the team from MythBusters, have built exact replicas of the Baghdad Battery. They filled the clay jars with lemon juice, vinegar, or wine, liquids that would have been easily available in ancient Mesopotamia. The results were undeniable. When connected, the device generated an electric current. A single jar produces about half a volt, not enough to jumpstart a car, but certainly enough to prove the concept works. And here's the kicker. If you connect 10 of these jars together in a series, the voltage adds up. Suddenly, you have a power pack capable of several volts. The chemistry is solid, the artifact is real, but the biggest question remains, what on earth were they doing with it? If they didn't have iPhones to charge, what was the battery for? The most popular theory is electroplating. Craftsmen in this era were known for layering thin gold onto silver objects. Today, we use electricity to do this. Koenig believed that ancient jewelers used these batteries to plate gold onto statues and jewelry, creating a seamless, magical finish that other cultures couldn't replicate. It would have been a trade secret worth killing for. But there is a darker, more theatrical theory: religion. Imagine a dark temple. A metal statue of a god stands in the center. Hidden behind a curtain, a priest has connected 20 of these jars to the metal base of the statue. A worshiper comes in. The priest tells them, if you are pure of heart, the god will accept you. If you're a sinner, you will feel his power. The worshiper touches the statue and zap! They feel a tingle, a shock, a miracle. In a world without electricity, a mild electric shock would feel like pure magic. It would be proof of the divine. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? A lost technology used for gold and gods. But history is rarely that simple. Here's the problem. In archaeology, context is everything. And the context here is missing. We have found the jars, but we've never found any wires,
No copper cables, no iron connectors. Without wires, you cannot connect the batteries to a statue or a jewelry bath. Furthermore, similar jars have been found in nearby ruins containing nothing but rotten papyrus. This leads many historians to a boring but likely conclusion. The iron and copper might not have been electrodes. They might have just been a fancy airtight seal to protect sacred scrolls from moisture. The acid corrosion on the iron? It could have just been the papyrus rotting away over 2,000 years. So, was it a battery? The physics says yes. The archaeology says maybe. We know the ancients were smarter than we give them credit for. They mapped the stars, built the pyramids, and calculated the circumference of the Earth. Whether the Baghdad Battery was a power source or just a jar for scrolls, it forces us to ask a terrifying question. What else have we forgotten? How many other inventions have been lost to the dirt, waiting for us to rediscover them? If you want to uncover more lost technologies of the ancient world, make sure to like and subscribe to Era by Era. I'll see you in the next mystery.